Good afternoon, my friends. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so I can be with you forever. I'm going to be leaving my email in the description, so if you want to contact me for a personalized astrology chart reading or a tarot reading or binaural beats, just hit me up there. And just for disclaimer's sake, my binaural beats are not scientifically proven and they're pseudoscience, whatever. So I just want to put that out there so you can't really sue me for anything in case people want to do that. I've gotten a little bit of backlash from my last video of the binaural beats, which I just kind of made as, on the side. Thought it might help people who have had experience in, olfactory nerve damage from COVID. So, I just put that out there in case, it might help people. Some people are like, oh, this is like a cult, blah, 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 blah. Like, just take it what it is. It's just like, it's binaural beats, not hypnotizing you to do anything perverse or anything. But if you want to believe that, go ahead. I'm not responsible for any of that weird shit that you might think of me, though, in case you want to sue me for that. So I just wanted to say that, I guess. But yeah, so I'm just going to talk about a subject here, just a random thing. I'm going to try to do more videos in general. But yeah, I was thinking about this today, about serfdom, and why I see that as being a comeback and how that's going to be implemented in a lot of, the next generation of workers and how that's going to change lifestyles. And I don't think it's necessarily a super bad thing. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing, although it could be a good thing. It's hard to say. It depends on what kind of serf you become. Because what I'm seeing is it's like, okay, you have Bill Gates now who's buying up tons of farmland. And it's not just him. There's a lot of people developing farmland because that's going to be a huge importance in the world. Is just food, right? And managing farms and having farmers in general. And I think because of the trends that's happening now, because people are sort of getting sick of urban lifestyles, people are generally conditioning themselves to become more and more, traditional, working on a farm, sewing and knitting your own clothes and living in nature and having, a more wholesome existence on earth. There's definitely going to be people who are going to take advantage of that. And these people that are buying up farmland, well, they're going to need farmers. They're going to need people to manage those farms. And there's definitely going to be a push I can see towards paying people to relocate to these farmlands to basically work for them. And this basically turns into serfdomhood. It's just something to think about now that I'm seeing the trends. And I think people should be aware that, this trad lifestyle that's being promoted, I think is just a natural phenomenon. I think people are just very discontented, is that a word even? Discontented with the current state of urban living and living in apartments, especially during the pandemic and quarantine and lockdown. A lot of people's freedoms have felt like they've been stripped away from them because the general benefits of living in an urban area are all closed down. So all the entertainment stuff, everything that's enjoyable about living in a city is pretty much on lockdown. You can only do essential services, and a lot of people are moving to more rural territory. And, people are aware of that. There are people who are going to take advantage of that, and they will prey upon people who want to live that lifestyle, want to live the traditional lifestyle, and they will move to a farm from some big agricultural company to, manage a small portion of land. And then, they'll probably pay you some kind, depending on how much of an output you grow. There'll definitely be some incentives for education. And it's kind of funny because this is kind of predicted in that Christopher Nolan film. I forget what it was called. It was like the one where they go into outer space and everyone's a farmer. And, that's pretty much where people are starting to go. And I think it's going to be an interesting world in the future because, as we are seeing in this current trend, this great reset, as they're calling it, they're pushing less towards urbanized places and more towards rural areas. A lot of middle America, for instance, is being very developed. And in China, the government has been pushing more rural living, just in social media and as propaganda, which I find interesting. They've been doing this for a few years now. They have a lot of key social media figures that have been promoting the trad lifestyle for a while now. And I think this is a lifestyle that appeals to many because I think a lot of people are disillusioned from being on the internet all the time, from being in, urban environments, having to work minimum wage jobs in the service industry, which is mostly what people can do in this job climate, or either that or working at the Amazon warehouse or what have you, which is also another aspect that they're starting to push, is basically work camps for people, which I would highly recommend you stay far away from that kind of stuff. Don't take, even if they pay you $10,000 to relocate to Tennessee or wherever, just be cautious. I think that's something to keep in mind because the world's changing, there's things being put in motion. And, we can get distracted by all this Trumpian bullshit and all this useless political crap, or just even the virus itself, just getting distracted by the fear-mongering that's surrounding the virus. Because in the background, there's people doing real shit, real developments for the future. Because this virus thing, they can't, even if you believe in the conspiracy that they're going to use it to control us, whatever, they can't do it for too long, because it's just, there's no logical reason in any way whatsoever to keep people miserable. As much as we want to believe, and you can have valid reasons to believe that there is an elite that wants to keep people down and oppressed and controlled and manipulated, they also don't want, they're not trying to make you miserable, right? They're not trying to make people lead horrible, dull, meaningless lives. It's kind of just an effect of, working useless jobs that don't really have much payoff in the end. But ultimately, I think this is something that's like another topic altogether, is that nobody wants to make people miserable. The misery is just a side effect of what they actually want to do. Ideally, they want to make people happy, or experience enjoyment and distraction in their life, so that way they aren't aware of things that are happening in the world. And they're also using a lot of fear and whatnot, and whether you want to call that social programming or what have you is kind of irrelevant, but it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, because the world is changing, regardless of Trump or Biden or the virus or whatever. It's all the things that are happening on in the background. It's all the people that are buying up land, buying up resources, instigating different policies that are kind of not really pushed out at the forefront of the mainstream media. What is being pushed out is, oh, look, Donald Trump got impeached for the second time. And it's like, okay, like, whatever. Like, I really don't understand why people even care at this point about that kind of stuff, but that's a whole other topic on its own. But yeah, so the thing I want to just emphasize is take caution in the future, especially where job opportunities are, because they will take advantage of people who are in a state of joblessness and desperation and wanting to find jobs. And obviously you need to find a job, we need to survive and all that crap. So yeah, just do your homework first. If you're going to take a job offer, don't just take the first one there, because you might be selling yourself to a life that you will regret for a while until you manage to leave, because the whole thing with serfdomhood is that you basically owe whoever owns the land constantly, so you're never actually free from that debt, and you constantly have to repay it, which is why this whole thing where they're starting to pay people $10,000 to relocate to like these development centers, which I don't really know much about, is a little bit sketchy, because the $10,000, it's not just free $10,000. You're gonna have to pay that in some way or another. There's always gonna be some fine print. I mean, I haven't really looked into it that deeply, but it's just something to be aware of, that these people aren't just gonna give you that for free. You have to pay that back somehow, and they will make you pay it back. And that's kind of the trap with debt and serfdomhood and all of that shit, because that's basically how they're planning to trap people, and especially by promoting this trad lifestyle, which, you know, they're doing in China, and they probably will do it in America at some point or another, and it will be very enticing, especially amongst Zoomers, especially amongst people who are like under the age of 20, who are just starting to reach adolescence and reach adulthood, who are very disillusioned by the internet. Just in general, as I see, there's more of a trend of people who, especially younger people, who are getting very sick of the artificiality of the world, and they're going to want to move towards a more wholesome, holistic, realistic, organic lifestyle, living on a farm. And there will be people who will prey upon that desire, because with every human desire, there is someone making money off of it. That's the whole American dream and capitalism in general. That's how it all really works. It doesn't really work in the sense that people are controlling you. It's all because of stuff that people want. People go after it, right? If you think of porn, nobody's forcing you to watch porn. Nobody's forcing you to take drugs. Nobody's forcing you to consume addictive products, although they are designed to be addictive, but it's because you have the desire to consume those products in the first place, and that's why they market it to you, and that's why they sell it to you. And if there's a desire to want to be a farmer and want to live a trad lifestyle with a wife and family, or whatever your dream is, there will be people who will take advantage of that. And you know, it was kind of like what they did in the 1950s, you know, when they were building up middle America and they were building up the suburbs, and that was like the whole new American lifestyle. And for many people, it was a great thing. It was a great opportunity, but it was also a very stifling environment. And that's when the baby boomers sort of revolted against that sort of very, you know, cookie cutter lifestyle of living in the suburbs. Everything's perfect. Everything has its own way. Everyone sits and watches television and dinner, and, you know, dad goes to work and mom makes apple pies and all that crap. It's definitely returning to that kind of environment that people want, that they're going to start promoting and start, you know, shoving propaganda down your throats about living in the more holistic, organic lifestyle. And it's definitely going to be, you know, pushed in with some environmentally friendly reasons to do this too. And like I said, it's not good or bad. Just it's good. It's bad depending on where you go, where you work, and what your choices are. And if you're not aware of these things and what people are going to take advantage of you for, I think that's important to recognize. I don't want to be a cynic all the time. I just want to make sure that I'm aware and people around me are aware, because I don't think people are aware of what's happening in the world. So I just wanted to talk about that quickly, and I will see you next time. Peace.